Going on a date with a woman for the first time might seem simple from the outside, but inside, my whole world stopped. Suddenly, everything I thought I knew about dating didn't seem to fit anymore. My heart was racing and my mind was spinning with doubts, so I paused, took a deep breath. That first date wasn't really about her. It was about me finally allowing myself to experience something new without needing to have all the answers right away. And if your heart is racing too, take a breath. Stay with me in this video, and I'll share 5 things that helped me walk into that first date with a little more peace and a lot more truty. Going on a date with a woman for the first time hits different. That kind of nervous energy. It comes with weight because it's not just a date, it's the beginning of something that feels like your truth finally showing up. I felt lost and anxious before that first date. I grew up watching love stories that never ended with 2 women. The anxiety was loud. I wanted it, but what scared me most was that I had no reference point. I didn't know how to feel safe in that space. I kept asking myself if what I was feeling was right, if I was supposed to be that nervous. And the answer, yes, because I was feeling, and for the first time, I felt alive, fully present, and connected to something that truly mattered. The butterflies, the tension, the doubt, those were signs that I was opening up to something new and real, and yeah, that's scary at first. But it's also what changed everything for me. I went into my first date with another woman thinking I needed to be sure of who I was. But the truth is, the first step isn't about certainty, it's about presence. So I took a deep breath and told myself, I'm here, I'm feeling this, and that's enough. I asked myself, what am I really looking for on this date? And honestly, it wasn't obvious. I was still figuring it out. I didn't know if it was curiosity, the beginning of a kind of relationship I'd never had before, or just a soft connection, no labels, where I could explore what it feels like to be seen, really seen. I wasn't chasing a result, not a kiss, not a label, not a conclusion. I was just paying attention to the exchange, letting myself listen, observe, and connect without rushing. And I felt safe enough to tell her, this is actually my first time going out with another woman. And to my surprise, she looked at me and said, mine too. We were both right there, in that same in-between space. And it opened up something real between us. When you're going on a date with a woman for the first time, you have the right to feel safe the entire time. And honestly, no one really talks about that. Safety includes the place, the time, the vibe, even how the date flows. And that's not being dramatic, that's self-care. Feeling in control of your environment can be the difference between opening up or shutting down. That's why I chose a calm public place for my first date, like a quiet cafe. And because I was so nervous, I let a friend know exactly where I'd be and who I was with. Not because I was scared, but because I was taking care of myself. And that reminder, it helped me breathe. Here's the truth. When you take your safety seriously, without guilt, the energy of the date changes. It stops feeling like something to get through and becomes a space for discovery. Another part of safety that no one tells you about is how your body reacts to a hug, a look, a kiss. Pay attention to that. Setting boundaries doesn't make you cold. It makes things clear. And clarity opens the door to something way more honest and way more real. Where you go on your first date with another woman might seem like a small thing, but the space you choose sets the tone for everything. A quiet cafe lets you hear her voice clearly. A noisy bar? It drowns out all the little moments that might have meant something. So if you're going on a date with a woman for the first time, choosing a place that invites presence, soft eye contact and gentle conversation makes all the difference. Here's the beautiful part. The fewer the distractions, the more you notice the way she holds her cup, how the wind plays with her hair, tiny details that start to speak their own secret language. Because the magic, it's never in the setting. It's in that quiet moment when your eyes meet and everything softens. That's what makes a heart-led date between two women so powerful. It doesn't matter if it's a coffee shop or a walk in the park. What matters is how much of you is showing up. And the more you allow yourself to feel, the more likely you are to uncover something beautiful that might have been sleeping inside you for a long time. So yes, it's normal to feel confused. It's normal to want to run. But it's even more normal to want to be seen, heard, and loved exactly as you are. It wasn't a perfect conversation, but it was honest. There was no script, no interview, just flow. We were both present right there in that moment. And then, after a little while, she looked at me and said, "Can I ask you something kind of personal?" I nodded, and she asked, "Are you sure about your sexuality?" And right then, I realized we were both carrying the same questions, the same fears. Being truly heard in that moment was the greatest gift. Yes, I felt vulnerable, but I also felt held. That's where the power of active listening comes in. When she shares something personal, you don't have to fix it or offer advice. You can simply say, "Wow, that makes a lot of sense." Or, "I felt something like that too, just in a different way." That kind of emotional mirroring. It shows you're really listening. And on a date between two women, that kind of sensitivity, that presence, can be the difference between a nice moment and something unforgettable. There's this common misconception in first dates between women that the chemistry has to just happen, as if respect and desire can't exist in the same space. But the truth is, when you ask, "Can I give you a hug?" you don't break the moment, you deepen it. Because in this kind of connection, desire doesn't come from forced boldness. It grows from the care you bring when stepping into someone else's world. It shows you see her as a whole person, not just as a reflection of your own wants. And for someone still discovering herself, that kind of care can be exactly what helps her let her guard down and actually feel the moment for what it is. When there's openness, desire blooms from safety. And when you feel safe, your body relaxes, and that's when everything flows, from the touch to the glance to the laughter to the silence. Feeling respected in even the smallest ways, that's what makes your heart want to stay. That's what turns a nice date into an unforgettable one. Because real connection is born when both people feel free to be themselves. No masks, no fear. Just that quiet sparkle in the eyes that says, "I'm here for real." On a date between women, there's often a lot of emotion involved. And showing care, presence, and attention doesn't kill the vibe, it builds trust. There's no such thing as the perfect mood, but there is a shared space where both people feel safe enough to express what they want and feel. And maybe the most beautiful thing? Desire thrives where there's freedom. When she feels safe with you, that's when the real connection takes root, and that's when everything becomes true. After everything settles, there's that quiet moment and all the overthinking. That little voice asking, was it real? Was it something? I was still so full of emotion from everything that happened, my thoughts were racing. So I paused, breathed, reflected. I grabbed a notebook and started writing down everything I felt during that date. What made me feel good what made me uncomfortable, and that's when the magic happened. That moment of clarity came not because I forced it, but because I allowed myself to feel, without a script, without pressure, just as I was. Because every connection is one of a kind. Even if the words were said out loud, or even if my body was still unsure, the truth is that first date with another woman said more about me than about her. It showed me how I see myself, how I listen to myself, how I care for what I feel inside. Now tell me, what did you feel when you imagined yourself in that moment? Drop it in the comments. And if this video made you feel seen, share it with someone else who's also figuring things out. It might seem like a small gesture, but for someone out there, it could be the exact push they've been needing.